31. So this is going to be the same thing too. We've got addition and here. Now this is multiplication there for that term. Then we got the first term is there, second term there. So what we're going to do is we're going to split this cosecant up because there's nothing else to do. All right, there's nowhere else to go. This guy is cotangent squared, and so I know that he's cosine over sine. But that would be sine squared, and canceling out one of the signs is not going to help me. So let's see what we can do here. We're going to put cosecant under each of these. Okay, now notice that I'm putting an equal sign for my next step here. All right, and I'm going to take the time to write this so that it's very clear that we're splitting it up. Okay. Okay, and try to keep the variable consistent. I always forget that, but it's pretty important to do that. If you're using y, keep it y. Don't switch to x or theta, even though I unfortunately do it sometimes. Okay, now this actually goes back to the trick that we just played. This is actually sine squared because cosecant in the denominator means that it's really sine in the numerator. So this is actually sine squared. Now let's just see what that does, okay? This is then going to give this guy a sine. Now this is multiplied, so I can just give one of these guys the cosecant. And since sine is related to this guy, he's also going to be a sine squared. Okay, now that's pretty good. Now I could factor a sine squared y, but that's not going to take me anywhere. It doesn't simplify anything any further. We would just have parentheses, right? And that might be fine. Fact 1 plus cotangent, that might actually be, yeah, actually, you could do that. You could actually fact. Let me just kind of give you an alternative, but we could take this guy out and see what we get as a result. That's one path that we could take. Let me kind of show you a different way that I see it, because it uses the definition of what cotangent is. Cotangent is cosine theta, or cosine over sine. Now because he's squared, okay, because he's squared, you just keep this squared. And so at this point, you'll notice that these signs will actually cancel out, okay? Now that's what I saw. And so again, if you actually went this way, if you saw sine squared and you factored out, that actually is going to work. You're going to get a same answer, okay? Because what's going to happen is you've got sine squared y plus cosine squared y. And so that is one of the most fundamental identities we got. That's actually 1. Okay? So again, if you factored out a sine squared y, you would have got 1 plus cotangent squared, which is cosecant squared. Multiplied that to sine squared, and they would have canceled each other out. Okay, so you would have got 1. So 2 different ways to do this guy. All right, this one looks like we're going to do some FOIL here, okay, and we'll just see what happens and clean up the mess and see if I can combine stuff and so on and so forth. All right, so we'll go sine, because I don't see any identities. Nope, no identities there. It's not an equation, okay, these are expressions. We just simplify. Okay, so we'll go sine. Now I have my cat knocking on the glass here. I can't just... Could you get the cat, Laura? Yeah, he's like... Gosh, it's like nails on chalk. Wow. Okay, so let's see what we got here. All right, let's see. We've got that's 1 over cosine. Okay. All right. So I'm going to I'm going to do this. I'm going to break tangent up. Remember, the best thing you can do is basically make anything in terms of, first rule of thumb is to always make things in terms of sine and cosine if you can. Okay. And so what we got is a lot of sine and cosines here. We just have to make sure that you don't accidentally make a secant sine, 1 over sine. Okay. So I'm going to double check this. Sine tangent there. Sine secant is 1 over cosine. Sine over cosine for tangent, and then 1 over cosine. Okay. So I don't know if you guys notice here, but this is actually tangent here. This is sine over cosine. These guys actually cancel out. That's a big deal. Okay, great. So this means then that I've got a sine squared up at the top here. Oh, put your equal signs. I got a sine squared, and then I got a cosine. And this guy already has that right there. So I've got a sine squared minus 1 over cosine. So they have a common denominator. I just want to make sure that was supposed to be negative. Because if it was positive, this would be a lot better because then you'd have sine. Wait. Can I switch? Can I flip them? Because then that would be negative. Yes, I can. Okay, cool. All right, so what we got is we've got sine squared theta minus 1 over cosine theta. Okay, now we can switch the order of these playing with the negative sign. Now I need to switch the order so that it will conform to one of my identities. Okay, so that would be a 1 minus sine theta. That's cosine theta squared. All right, so now that I've got 2 of them, I've got 1 left. So this ridiculous thing here is actually just negative cosine theta. Beautiful, beautiful, exquisite mathematical truth laying before you. It's gorgeous. That's awesome. All right, so all right, last 2, and now we have a destination. Here we've got to show that this guy equals this guy. All right, and then for 34, this guy equaling that guy. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make that a separate video just because I want to look this over and I don't want to waste your time in the video and have me backtrack. So let me just make sure that I got this.